Welcome everybody. I'm glad to have with me today Cristina Trotter. We are here at our Oconee Regional Library, and Cristina, I was telling you off camera, I've done a lot of shows down here, but have not come into what I call the genealogy, for lack of a better word, department. I guess I should ask what you call it, but what's the official name of this?
The official name is the Dublin Lawrence Heritage Center.
Okay, good. And there's so much, a lot of people, when we do these shows down here, they don't realize our library has this to offer. Let me tell you up front, we have a wonderful, I call it the Lawrence County Library, but it covers more counties than Lawrence County, but there's so many hidden resources here. But we're here today in this Heritage Center, and as I look around the room, Cristina, I just see so many names. I look around, I see the Livingston. I was doing a show yesterday. We were talking about Louis Livingston down at Valley Bank, and the Christians, the Bells, the Allgoods, the Cochrans, so many names that date back literally hundreds of years. But let me ask you this. How far back does this go as far as dates?
Well, this collection of books can go all the way back. I don't know exactly the oldest record we have here, but I know that we have books on the Mayflower families and many of those very early immigrants to the United States. And then we also have a few books covering Great Britain also.
Well, you've been doing this 20 years. It don't ever get old, does it?
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And honestly, when you're considering these records, 20 years is really nothing,
yeah.
Right? We are still discovering great little details in books that were published in the 1960s and even before. So yeah, 20 years is nothing when you're covering genealogy.
So tell me what made you want to go into this line of work?
Well, I'm I'm a librarian, and I got my master's at Louisiana State University, and I started in academic libraries at Tulane University. But me and my husband, we knew that we did not want to raise a family in New Orleans. We needed a good place to raise a family, and we decided to move here to Dublin, Georgia. And when we visited our in-laws and saw this library, saw this Heritage Center, we were just so impressed. And I knew that this is a place where I could really work and have a career. And so I did not know I wanted to go into genealogy and family local history until I moved here, and it has been wonderful.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's just got to be a great job. Being the history buff I am, this would be my cup of tea right here.
Yes, sir.
I'm just amazed. I told you off camera a little earlier that when I walk in over here and I find Alan Thomas with some books out, it's like I've won the lottery.
Yeah, definitely.
You have to admit, and I know you do, he is a wealth, and you combine him and Scott Thompson together, it's just like...
I don't know what we would do without them.
Oh, they better they need some apprentices, I know
right.
that.
Yes, yes.
But, and it's so organized, so well kept, and I love, I see a sign back here somewhere that says, don't put the books back, let the staff put the books back, because
yes.
you got a particular order they go, right?
Right, we do have it arranged by all the books for a certain county are in one area, and they're alphabetical by county. And then all the books that are specific to Georgia but cover multiple counties, they're in one area. And then we have a whole section on different states. So yes, we have a very particular way of organizing it here. So it's good for us to put the books back.
So what are some really cool things that you know about in here that are just some gems that you found through the years?
Well, let's see. When it comes to these books, it's kind of, wow. I feel like every book contains a gem for somebody. Mm-hmm. And that is really the exciting part, is when someone comes in trying to find a little piece of information about a relative that they heard lived somewhere, and we have to go digging through the various books to find it. And when we finally find it, the joy that they experience is so great. So I will say, beyond the book collection, we have other resources include, which I can go into later if you're interested. But one thing we have is also our archival collections. So we do have some real unique gems. They're the original historic document. We have a whole collection of 19th century historic documents from Lawrence County, and they contain the original wills, estates, and all sorts of interesting receipts. I can't even go into it. There's 38,000 documents, and it is amazing.
You probably dream about it, don't you?
Well, that is also thanks to Alan Thomas, who indexed them all, and that index is available on our website.
Wow, thank you, Alan.
Yes.
Yeah, he's remarkable, absolutely remarkable. So we'll probably brag him on a few more times throughout the show, and I know you're probably watching. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back right after this.
You build more than projects. You build what communities rely on. When the job site runs on results, put Kubota to work. Backed by expert service and support from your local Kubota dealer. Right now, bring home select Kubota KX Series with 0% financing available or save up to $7,000.
Coming soon, Mid-State Tractor and Equipment will have a new home, soon to be relocating at 492 Fire Tower Road in Dublin for a complete line of commercial equipment. Mid-State Tractor and Equipment.
Welcome back, everybody. We're continuing our show here at the Heritage Center here at the Lawrence County Library, and it's just a wealth of knowledge. There's no way to sit down in a 30 or 40 minute show and even scratch the surface of what is going on in here. What are some of the things you talked about? Deeds, you talked about maps. You know, we didn't talk about the cemeteries. Now, a lot of them. Now, the churches had to help with this, but you've got a lot of that documented. You've even got the obituaries dating back quite a ways back.
Yes,
from the
sir.
Dublin Courier Herald. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we have a whole obituary, we call it obituary index, but actually individual obituaries are on index cards. And they were collected by volunteers throughout the decades here at the library. But they start in the late 1960s and go all the way right now up to 2012. And those are all the obituaries published in the Courier Herald, and they're alphabetical by surname, and they're such a great resource for individuals trying to find relatives, because not only do you find the obituary of your ancestor, but then you can also see the names of the pallbearers, which are often your cousins, and things like that, and they give so many great leads to continue your family history search.
And what about the cemeteries?
The cemeteries, we have a cemetery book published by the Lawrence County Historical Society that covers, it was a survey of all the Lawrence County cemeteries up through 2001. And so that is a primary source of information for us. And then we also have some other books that focus on individual cemeteries.
What's the most requested item when people walk in?
Oh, wow. I think marriage records, maybe. We do have a book that indexes all the marriage records. And so starting from the 1807, from the very beginning. And we have those marriage licenses on microfilm. So people can look in the book, identify if there's a marriage license they're looking for, and then we can use that information to go to our microfilm and print a copy of that license for them.
You know, a lot of people use sites like Ancestry.com, things like that. But this is a valuable resource here, right here in our own community.
Yes,
to come free of charge.
Right.
Now, if you want copies made, I'm sure there's got to be some cost there. But as far as finding the information and maybe take a picture with your phone or whatever like that.
Right.
But, you know, make copies, it costs money to do it. But this is a valuable resource here, isn't it?
It really, really is. And I can go into the online resources that are available. Actually, Ancestry is available for free in the library, or if you're connected, you can do it on your own device if you're connected to our Wi-Fi. But ancestrylibrary.com is completely free to anyone. Fortunately, thanks to Galileo and the Georgia Public Library Service, to all Georgia at all Georgia public libraries.
Wow.
So Ancestry is used a lot here, but we always have to remind people that not all the information is online. There's a lot of information in our books on our microfilm, and then these original records that you are not going to find online at all. So yeah, it really is a rich source of information.
That's great information there, to know that you can use that Ancestry.com or library
Yes.
free of charge. That's really good, because I've used it. I found census cards from my grandparents and great grandparents. You know, it's not done as much now, but I have a Bible, actually my great grandfather's Bible, dating back to 1856, I think, 55 or 56. And they documented things back then, you know, marriages and deaths and brothers and sisters, and, you know, it was in the family Bible.
Exactly, yes.
And of course, we grew up taking pictures, black and white when I was younger, and then the little 110 cameras and Polaroids. But now everything's on people's phones, and everybody don't do like I do and back it up, not only in the cloud, but on terabyte drives and things, you know,
Right.
because you go to my mom and dad's house, you can sort through hundreds, probably thousands of pictures.
Yes.
So to be able to come here and find that marriage certificate, or find, you know, a number of documents. And I noticed back here a little while ago some big books, and it talked about the fires dated back like in the 30s and 40s. What is that?
Oh, those are our Sanborn maps.
Uh-huh.
And so they're fire insurance maps that were made by a company called Sanborn, the fire insurance company. And these are some early maps of communities throughout the U.S. But we have a lot of our early Sanborn maps are actually available for free on the Digital Library of Georgia. But we do have one, thanks to the DAR, we have one book that's not available online from 1937, I believe it is. And you can see what buildings were there and how they were shaped and their address on these old Sanborn maps.
How do you decide what goes in? Because you only have so much room. So
Right.
a decision has to be made somewhere.
Yes, we did. At some point, I determined that we're not going to be able to collect records for every Georgia county. We have items from many, many Georgia counties, but I did did decide we would focus on I-20 South to at least create some sort of boundaries.
Yeah.
Because we do have limited room. We do collect items from surrounding states, but we try to focus on things where we believe people from that state have either come into Lawrence County or our surrounding areas or have moved in that direction.
Well, even if you don't have family ties here, you still could use this, because I was looking at a book, and it's on this bookcase behind you to your side, talking about colonial families of the United States of America. So just someone like me that just loves history. Like you said a while ago, there's all kind of gems in the eye of the beholder, I guess.
Right.
But you've got books like that, and genealogy registers and things that just so many points of entry there.
Right.
I know. How does it feel when you see somebody come in and they find that perfect thing, and you see the light come on a personal level? How does that feel?
It feels so wonderful, but in particular, I feel grateful, honestly, because almost every one of these books that information was collected by dedicated volunteers. Not many people are making a lot of money off genealogy in this work, and it really is the work of individuals. Some of them, who have already passed decades ago, worked tirelessly to collect this information for future generations. And when I can find see someone discover something, it is not only I'm just grateful for the work that other people have put in to that research, but also realizing the work that we're doing now, how important it is for future generations.
You know, I have a book here, Genealogy of the Mayflower Families, and just opening to a random page, it talks about Caleb Howland of Clarendon, Vermont, and some of his descendants. And he was born in Rhode Island, May 4th, 1758, died September 5th, 1838, on which date he certified that he had resided in Brandon for 25 years. And it goes on and on. And things like this, I can see how Alan or Scott or you or me could just get lost in this. And it's kind of like me reading the Bible. I turn and go down this rabbit trail and that rabbit trail, and you just, you're led all through the Bible. And it'd be the same thing with this book. You know, I turned to page 381, just opened it, like I said, at a random page, but, you know, I could flip through and find things that I get more interested. So
Yes, sir.
do you find yourself doing that in here?
I do from time to time. Yes.
I know you have a job to do too. But.
Right. But yes, sir, I do. And I think what the really neat thing is that you really can just discover one individual. And if you were to go down that rabbit hole with just that one individual, you find yourself going through, you start to realize that that personal individual history is part of our larger history. Mm-hmm. That history is not just about famous people and celebrities, but it's about the individuals and the stories that they lived. And so as we follow one individual, you also go through the history of that area and of our country. Yeah. And it's really fascinating to think about how it all ties together.
And I know we see in the news now about immigrants and illegal immigrants, and and you just get tired of hearing it to a certain degree, or I get tired of hearing it. But we're all immigrants. None of us were born here. We're all immigrants. Our families came here when we tracked down and traced where the Deals came from, or the Trotters came from, or the Livingstons came from. It wasn't from Dublin, Georgia.
That's right.
And you just don't see the United States in the Bible. You see Middle Eastern countries and things like that, but we all immigrated here, and we're celebrating, we're taping this the week of July 4th, and I was looking, last night my wife and I were looking at the Statue of Liberty, and I was just, just going through in my mind all the immigrants who have come across to Ellis Island, and they were coming to the land of the free and the home of the brave, and it just had to be. I know how I felt just looking at what the Statue of Liberty stands for.
Right. Yes,
it
sir.
stands for freedom. If you ask anybody, a third grader, they would probably, if you just showed them the picture and said, "What do you think of?" most people would say freedom, because we've always welcomed immigrants the right way. And as we celebrate our 250th birthday, it's just. I just stand in awe, especially going through the VA hospital, all those people that fought for our country, and so many gave the ultimate sacrifice. They gave their lives for it, and you go out to the VA, and so many gave limbs and gave their minds. We don't know what they lived through. Right. My friends that were in Vietnam, I don't even want to imagine what they suffered through, seeing their friends die on the left and to the right, all for freedom.
Right. Yes,
we can enjoy the freedom, but do what we're doing now. We have no fear of reprisal, somebody busting in with guns and saying, you can't broadcast that over television,
right.
Or telling us we can't go to church. We have the freedom to go to church. We have the freedom not to go to church. And we should not question people's faith. It's all under our Bill of Rights, those freedoms that we have. And all this is a part of this,
yes, sir.
The history of our country from the very beginning, the Mayflower here,
yes.
It's just got to be a wonderful job, I just can't imagine how fun you have in here.
It really is wonderful. And what you just said just brings up so many things. One thing I'll mention is we do have a collection of family histories here that people have donated, and so and church histories. So I will, share that we are happy to accept family history and church history donations that we add to our collection so that they are available to future generations. But in particular, we had a patron a few years back who finally completed a successful application to the Mayflower Society. And he was visiting from another state, but he had to come here to get the resources, the evidence, the documentation he needed to be accepted into the Mayflower Society, proving that he had an ancestor that was on the Mayflower. And he donated his approved application, and it is now in our collection for people to be able to use if they needed to do the same thing. And that is so awesome. And then I will also add, if you don't mind, that so one of the biggest misunderstandings people have about the Heritage Center is that your family has to be from Lawrence County for this to be useful. And that is not true. We not only do we cover, our focus, the purpose of the Heritage Center is to collect, preserve, and make accessible local and family history for Lawrence County and our surrounding counties, particularly those of the Oconee Regional Library System. But then we also collect a lot throughout Georgia and other states. In addition, though, we do help people with their international genealogy. We have, not only through Ancestry are we able to access these records, but now Galileo and Georgia Public Library Service offer to all library patrons, and they can access it from home. They don't even have to come in, a genealogy website called MyHeritage. And it is the largest, most diverse genealogical database. It includes billions of records from 48 different countries. And so we are here to help everyone.
Wow.
Beginner, you don't even have to know where to get started. We will do our best to try to help you and then show you how to understand the information you're finding and then what next steps to take.
Incredible.
Yes.
Incredible. Well, I know I've learned a lot, and we're not even through yet. We're going to take another break and come back right after this.
At Bank of Dudley, we're your community, your bank. And with 7 branches to serve you, there's a Bank of Dudley close by. And there's a familiar face close by. The same familiar faces that you've seen for many years. The same people that you've grown to trust. Because that's what community banking is all about. 7 branches, local people, local decisions, local banking. That's the Bank of Dudley, serving our community since 1905.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm continuing my conversation with Cristina Trotter here at the Heritage Center at the Oconee Regional Library, our Lawrence County Library. If you're new to our area, you come by the library on Bellevue, our historical district, and there's no better place for it. The Carnegie was our library until early 60s.
Yes, sir.
When this library was built, and just incredible. You was talking about churches, and I was thinking this weekend, we're about to celebrate our 250th birthday for our country, but my church, which is the second oldest church in Lawrence County, Bethlehem Baptist Church out in the Condor community,
Yes, sir.
1821, 10 white people, 2 black people began that church in 1821. And I was thinking this weekend, our country was 45 years old when that church began. And what they saw, the people, the blessed saints that have come throughout all before we have, suffered through many wars, where the men left home and the women had to run the factories and tend the fields and pick up where all the men were gone. They suffered through the Spanish flu that wiped out literally millions of people. And then, of course, COVID and so many things, in the Great Depression. It just, when I think about that and having that historical mind, all these people suffered through things, and we thought COVID, and it was big. There's no doubt about it. It was terrible. And I hope I never witness nothing like that again, but they went through things even worse than that. But I do think about that, and of course, Poplar Springs North is the oldest church, I believe. So these churches have always been that cornerstone of our community. It's where people, if they needed help, you could go to the church. The government didn't help like that back then. The communities did. If lady's house burned, the community come in and took care of things and found her a house or built her a house or whatever. But the church has always been that cornerstone of a community. And you can find those resources here.
Right. We are very fortunate to have several different church histories. There's, of course, we don't have them all, and we want.
Yeah, and you want them.
We want them. If you have a church history, please share it with us, even if it is not a published book. So we have several published church histories, but then we also have sometimes just those anniversary booklets. We're happy to accept those too. Any church history we really would like, because it gives future generations the ability to not only find distant, people who are living now will one day be distant relatives, but be able to find those, and then also understand the growth of the church, which is so important.
It is. It really is. Every step of it, like us, 205 years, that's a long time.
Yes, sir.
205 years of history, and there's probably some points in there that's missing. But it's up to us, people, those of us, you watching us here today, it's up to all of us to make sure that future generations, when we're gone, and I just told a friend of mine, we've been friends for 60 years, I just got off the phone with her, and I was telling her, in the book of James it says, life's a vapor and then we vanish, and that's just how quick our lives are gone. So, and I'm not being morbid, I'm just trying to explain to you, history is important for my children, my grandchildren. You want them to know, because think about it, Cristina, when 100 years from now, nobody's going to know who we are. Once our grandkids or great-grandkids are gone, nobody's going to know who we are. It's over with. But through this Heritage Center, those things can carry on, where my great-great or great-great-great-grandkids can come and say, oh my gosh, that's who my grandfather was. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I often tell people, when I've talked about collecting family histories, that, they think, oh, I'm not important, my family, it's not important. But they don't realize that in the future, there are going to be people looking to understand their family. And even if you don't have children, you are an aunt or an uncle or a cousin, and every little relative helps people. When they discover old relatives, they get so excited, because for anyone who's done family history, you're thinking about your family tree and building it out. But every time you find a new relative, a new little leaf, what's happening to you is your roots are getting deeper. You're really feeling more connected and grounded yourself. And so it's an opportunity for future generations to get that feeling, by us leaving our history, we are really helping future generations.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a very good point there. So much to cover. And literally, no pun, I guess pun intended, but every cover in here, every page has history.
Yes, sir.
And just like the book I was just holding in my hand had, well over 1,000, might have had a couple thousand pages in it. That's just one book.
Right. Yes.
And I'm looking at book, and you've been looking at the shelves while we're talking. You've been seeing B-roll come up on the screen, but just literally page after page is all history. That's what this room is. It is our heritage, our history. It's United States history. It's Georgia history. It's Lawrence County history. It's family history. It's church history. There's so much here to. I can see why Alan would come in here and just get lost, and y'all probably tell him, we got to close, Alan. Of course, knowing him, he's got a key to the place, but he should have a key. Beverly, if you're watching this, which I know you are, give Alan a key if he don't have one. If anybody can be trusted, it's him. So, that's my 2 cents worth, and I know Beverly's watching, so that way I can throw that in. But, well, y'all, we're going to take another break, and we're going to come back and wrap things up. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Greg at Shamrock Honda Kawasaki, and riding season's in full swing. If you're interested in a sport bike, I've got 2 great options for you right here. I got the 2026 Honda CBR 600R and the Kawasaki ZX6. So come see us at Shamrock Honda Kawasaki here in East Dublin, 106 Savannah Avenue, 478-272-4563.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to wrap things up. You got something big coming up July 11th.
We do, yes. On Saturday, July 11th, we're going to have a program called, and I have my little cheat sheet so I can get it right, Digging into Land Records and Ancestral Tall Tales. We have invited a Georgia-based genealogist and historian. Her name's Jennifer Dunn, and she is going to present two different sessions, one called Land Records, the cornerstone of Georgia genealogy, where she will discuss land records in Georgia and how to understand them and what information you can get out of them. And she's going to also talk about this great program, I love her title, Your Ancestors Are Lying to You, and here's how to catch them.
That title wants you to come.
Right.
What a great teaser that is.
It's
That's really good. You want to be a part of that. And you're looking at the information on the screen while we've been talking. So that's all your pertinent information. We'll be airing this program again, or you can watch it on our YouTube channel to get information you may have missed. But we've talked a lot about online. You've taught me a lot about free resources online. I had no idea through Ancestry, through the library, that kind of thing. But is there anything else about online that we need to know?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to mention, so we did point out that we have Ancestry Access along with that. So Ancestry Access is available here in the library. And I mentioned MyHeritage, which you can access from home. We also have, I want to point out that we are an affiliate library for Family Search. So if you're doing your family history at home, FamilySearch.org is a free website where you can create an account and do all sorts of online searching. But sometimes to view the record, you have to go to an affiliate library, and we are a Family Search affiliate library, so you can come here to actually view the record. And I want to also point out that we have, now this is not available outside of the library, but we have digitized all of our newspaper microfilm from 1901 to 2008 so that we can search the newspaper and do a keyword search rather than having to go on the old microfilm machines and scroll and scroll. So that is a great resource if you're looking for some local history information, stories that have happened in the past here in Lawrence County. And then just two more things I think I really want to point out. Miss Beverly Brown, she is wonderful.
Amen.
Our director. She has been so supportive of making our local history accessible. She understands the importance of that, and she has encouraged us and supported us to digitize some archival projects. So online, through the Digital Library of Georgia, we have a collection called Teachers Monthly Reports. And right now we are focusing on the African American schools, but we have even more to work on. But if you go online, you can find actual teachers' monthly reports of their classrooms listing all the students that were in their classrooms. And this is from the 1930s. The amazing thing, the thing that I found so fascinating was in the 1930s, there were 111 unique schools in Lawrence County. That's how many records we have for different schools.
Wow.
And so not all of those are online, where it's a large project, but we do have the African American schools online through the Digital Library of Georgia. And then also, we've talked so much about Mr. Alan Thomas, but one thing I want to share is that Alan Thomas allowed us to digitize and make accessible, again, through the Digital Library of Georgia, an oral history collection that he created in the 1970s. So in the 1970s, he interviewed people that were in their 90s. So let's imagine how long these people had been living. And they talk a lot about the development of Dublin and Lawrence County in that early 20th century.
Wow.
And that is also available online. And all of this, everything I've mentioned, is available by going to the Heritage Center's website, which is a page on the library's website. And you can get to our website by going to ocrl.org.
So if you did it in the 70s, you're talking about people born in the 1880s.
Yes.
1870s, 1880s.
Yes.
And I know my grandparents were born. My grandfather was born in 1898, And you think about those people he interviewed. Cars didn't exist.
Right.
So many things didn't exist. My grandfather didn't even believe that man went to the moon. And, you know, the reason is when they were born, you know, there was no cars. There were no, your mode of transportation was a donkey or a horse or a carriage or something, or
Right.
walking.
Yep.
So you have to realize the era they were born in.
Right.
You know, there were no middle class. You was rich or poor, and
Yes.
most people were poor. So all that is history. And we know if we don't know our history, we're doomed to repeat it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we don't want to repeat some of those terrible things in our history. And there's a lot of it. And of course, our democracy is the best thing there is. You know, we live in the best country in the world, but that don't mean any family don't have problems
Yes,
that
sir.
you don't want to repeat.
Right.
We've all made mistakes in our lives, and I'm sure a lot of you are nodding your head now at home. You know, I know I've made so many mistakes in my life. So, and we don't want to repeat those things. We want to learn from them. And this is our history. And I will guarantee you, Cristina, you're going to have some new people coming in here because of the interest that they have gotten by listening to this show. It's been very informative. I've been wanting to come for quite some time. I'm glad we did it this morning. We're taping on it's the last day of June when we're taping this, but like I mentioned earlier, our country's 250th birthday, and that should bring us all together as Americans.
Yes,
You
sir.
know,
Yes, sir.
regardless of our disagreements or faults, and you know, because none of that stuff really matters when it's all said and done. But this is who we are, you know, our heritage, and 131 or so, 130 something individual schools. Because each community back then had a school. It may be in a woman's house. It
Or
may be
connected to a church. A
Could-
lot of
yeah.
them.
like our church. We
Yes.
had the Condor School.
Right.
A lot of people graduated from there, or Dudley, or Dexter, or Bruton, or you know, all these.
Right.
You know, there were many schools. And I guess it was in the early '60s they started combining. Some of them failed, but they started combining them and making our
Right.
Orange County schools, Dublin City schools, but Millville and all these Oconee. These are important to our history, and we don't want to forget about them.
That's right. Yes, sir.
When we're dead and gone, we want our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren to know what was important to us.
Yes. Right.
And this is a good way to show it. So y'all come down, and I'm going to tell you it's going to be addicting. It's going to be addicting.
It is.
So you're going to, this is a lot better than watching a television show, other than this one now. I'm talking about other television shows. But we want you to come down and enjoy and reap the benefits of what Cristina and Beverly and so many people have poured their heart and soul into. And it shows on these shelves. So, well, thank you, Cristina, for
you.
what you do, first of all. And I know you're busy, but thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk
Oh, it was
with
my
me.
pleasure, and thank you. And yes, we invite everyone to come here. We are here to help you get started on your research, or to help you try to figure out if you can break through that brick wall that's been bothering you as you've been trying to search your family tree. But we are always here to help.
Absolutely. What a great way to end on. Thank you so much for joining us today.